conscience, you have the conscience function of the spirit, you have the intuitional function of the spirit, you have the communal function of the spirit. 3 distinctive functions. Okay, 3 distinct functions. So let us take it one by one. All right. So the first one is the conscious part. Okay, people say that your conscience is the same as your spirit. No, every individual has a conscience. Okay, since we all have a spirit, every individual has what? A conscience. So the conscience is the discerning organ, okay, which distinguishes between wrong and right, okay, or is the judgmental section of the spirit. Okay, it works spontaneously. It is different from your mind. The conscience of our spirit is different from our mind. Okay, it gives spontaneous judgment. Okay, certain times you do something, if you're a Buddhist or you are a Muslim, when you kill, your conscience directly tell you that what you do is not correct. Okay, you don't even have time to, you don't even need anyone to tell you or to reason with you that what you did is wrong. That is the aspect of our spirit. It gives direct judgment. Okay, so later on you sit down and other people reason with you that no, what you did was wrong. Your conscience directly judge you. So it works independently from our mind, which is our soul aspect. Okay, so it judges, it accuses us immediately. Okay, that is why we are encouraged to follow our conscience. So okay, let me just establish the scriptures that help us understand that every man has a spirit, and the spirit functions as a conscience. So the Lord your God hardened his spirit. Deuteronomy 2 verse 30. Okay, and then Psalm 34 verse 18 says, saves the crash in the spirit. I'm not quoting all the scriptures, I'm just paraphrasing. Okay, Psalm 51 verse 10 says, put a new and a right spirit within me. Put a new and a right spirit within me. And then John 13 verse 21 says, when Jesus had thus spoken, he was troubled in his spirit. He was troubled. You only need your conscience to tell you whether you are troubled or you are free. Okay, his spirit was provoked within him as he saw that the city was full of idols. Acts 17 verse 16, that is Paul. His spirit was troubled. The human spirit was troubled or provoked. Okay. So it is the spirit himself that bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. Romans 8:16. So it is your conscience aspect of your spirit that is telling you that you are a son or you are a daughter of God. And then 1 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 3 says, I am present in spirit, as if present, I have already pronounced judgment. Okay, so the core function of the conscience is what? It pronounced judgment, whether wrong or what? Good. Another scripture also said, 2 Corinthians 2:13 said, I had no rest in my spirit. I had no rest in my spirit. All these are the functions of what? The conscience. For God did not give us the spirit of timidity. 2 Timothy 1 verse what? 7. For God did not give us spirit of what? Timidity. If you read when Moses had encountered Pharaoh, you hear throughout the Bible that and God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. And God hardened the heart of Pharaoh. So this is the conscious aspect of our spirit. That is in what? At work, right? So that is the conscious aspect. Remember, conscience is not your spirit, it's the functional aspect of your spirit. We are not saying that your conscience is your spirit, right? So our conscience gives us direct judgments. Okay, so a Buddhist or a traditionalist or a spiritist, when he is in his operations, when he is doing something that is not good, his conscience, which is, he also has a spirit. So the spirit aspect of that Buddhist or the spiritist or a wizard or a witchcraft, in his operations, the things function. Okay, right. So the second one is intuition. Okay, the second functional classification of human spirit is the intuitive part. The intuitive what part, right? So this is the sensing organ of human spirits. Okay, it is different from your physical senses. Touch, smell, it is different from all the senses of the mind and the physical aspect. Okay, this involves intuition, involves direct sensing of what? Knowledge. Okay, without the help of your mind, your emotion, or any volition or commitment that you make. It is the knowing aspect of our spirit. It is the knowing aspect. If you know, you know. Okay, it is a knowing aspect without any pre-knowledge of your mind, your body, or your senses. Your spirit tells you that something is happening. Okay, that is why you see most people say, oh, something told me that I shouldn't travel. But just that your mind could not comprehend. Your mind is not at the same level. At least your soul is not at the same level as your spirit, so you couldn't comprehend it, what the spirit was saying. So you move on to what? To travel. Now something happened. You say that, oh, something told me. It is what? The intentional part of what? Of your spirit. That is in what? In action. Right? So let's go at the scriptures that underline or make us understand that our spirits have intuitive function. So the spirit indeed is willing. Matthew 26 verse 41. The spirit indeed is willing. Okay, when the apostles were in the garden praying with Jesus, they couldn't watch over him for 1 hour. The spirit was telling them that they have to pray, but the body was not what? In support. Mark 2 verse 8 says, Jesus perceiving in his spirit. Jesus perceiving in his spirit. He knew in his spirit. Okay. Mark 8:12. He sighed deeply in his spirit. He wept deeply in his spirit. Okay. He was deeply moved in his spirit. John 11 verse 33. Jesus. Okay. Paul was pressed in his spirit. At 18 verse 5. Paul was pressed in his what? In his spirit. Being fervent in spirit. Being fervent in spirit. How do you know that you are fervent in spirit? It is the intuitive part of the spirit that will tell you that here you must be fervent. I am going to Jerusalem bound in spirit. How did Paul know that something will happen in the spirit at Jerusalem whilst he was going? It is the intuitive part of the spirit that told him that something will happen, but he is bound not to what? To return. Okay. Now, 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11 says, what person knows a man thought except the spirit of man which is in him? 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. So it is only the spirit of man which is in you that can discern your thoughts. Okay, because we established the fact that the spirit communicates with your soul, and your soul then commands your body. Okay, so 1 Corinthians chapter 16 verse 18 also tell us that they refresh my spirit as well as yours. Okay, so refresh your spirit. How do your spirit refresh? It is the intuitive part that will tell you that yes, your spirit has been refreshed. Then 2 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 13 also says that his spirit was refreshed by you all. His spirit was refreshed. So this is intuitive, the knowing part of your spirit. Okay, it takes a word of knowledge. Without nobody pre what? Without no previous knowledge, or without anybody giving you any information, it works independently from your mind. Okay, so when your spirit knows, then your mind will help you to understand what the spirit is telling. But if you have not developed your mind to be in tune with your spirit, the spirit cannot express itself freely. That is when you'll be missing a lot of what? Chances, and you'll be saying, had I know. Meanwhile, your spirit was telling you, but your mind could not comprehend, so you couldn't go according to directions. So we as Christians, you must endeavor to go according to what? These two aspects. Your intuitive or your knowledge functions of your spirit and your conscience aspect of your spirit. Because when your conscience judges that this is wrong, then the intuitive part will tell you that yes, this is correct, it is wrong. Okay. So now let's move to the third part, which is the communion function, or the communion aspects of your spirit. The communion aspects. So this is the part that we worship God. Your man, you as a man, your soul part and your body part is incompetent to worship God, because God is a spirit. That is why if you read John chapter 4 verse 24, say God is a spirit, and those that worship him must worship him in what? In spirit and in truth. That's what Jesus said. So he is a spirit. Okay. That is why he created a spirit within us, for this spirit to be communing with what? With him. So in the garden, it was the spirit of Adam that was communing with the spirit of God, and they were in fellowship. So at the cool of the day, Jesus or God come to the garden. That is the fellowship aspect, the worship aspect of the human spirit. Okay. So all communications and worship are direct in what? In the spirit part. Okay, they take place in the inner man. Okay, in the inner man. So that is that aspect is called what? The inner man. That's what Paul prayed in important prayer. Say, for this cause I bow down my knee always for all believers. Ephesians chapter 3. Verse 14 to what? 16. Say, for this cause I bow down my knee, that the God, a Father of all creations, to strengthen your inner man with the might of the Spirit. So it is a good prayer to always pray that Lord strengthen my inner man. That is the worship aspect. That is where you commune with God. That is where your intuitive part takes knowledge from the Spirit of God before communicates with your soul realm. Then now you intend to command the body according to the will of God. So now you understand why is that Jesus said, now you worship not in Jerusalem, you worship not on this mountain, but God is a spirit. Those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Let us read the scriptures that establish the fact that God gave us a spirit that has a communion function. My spirit rejoices in God my Savior. Luke 1:47. That was when Mary was told that she was pregnant. Then John 4:23, as I said, the true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and in what? Truth. John 4:23. Then Romans 1:9 says, whom I serve with my spirit. That is Paul talking, writing to the Roman church. Say, I serve God in spirit, not with my mouth, not with my body, but I serve God with my spirit. That is the human spirit that is within him. Okay. In Romans 7:6 also said, we serve in the new life of the spirit. We serve in the new life of the spirit. Okay. So Romans chapter 8:6 says, you have received not the spirit of sonship. We have received the spirit of sonship when we cry, Abba Father. We cry, we groan, Abba Father. I mean, we worship, Abba Father. We worship. Okay, and then 1 Corinthians chapter 6:17 says, he who is united to the Lord becomes one spirit with him. Become one spirit with him. Okay, I will sing with my spirit. 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 14:15 says, I will sing with my spirit.